let's take a look through the morning's newspapers, and with us again is the broadcaster Gemma Forte and the journalist and author Yasmin Alibhai-Brown. Yasmin, Gemma, thanks for staying with us. Let's get into it now and go to the front page of the Mail, Gemma, and this is reporting, of course, on the situation at ITV and this morning with Dr. Ranj saying that there was a toxic culture on the programme.
That's right. So Dr. Ranj worked on the show for many, many years, and as is being reported, he did try to confront senior people at ITV about the culture that was there, that he witnessed, and he denies any knowledge of the affair that has been making the front pages, but does suggest that there was, as it says there, a culture of bullying, and that actually, rather than hear him out, he was sort of managed out of the show, which he says did affect him quite deeply on a personal level. So not great. And I think probably this is a story that is going to rumble on and on as more people feel more enabled to be able to speak out about the culture there. And hopefully it'll be a wake-up call, because ultimately what are we talking about here? We're talking about making TV. And yes, you know, ratings matter. But it is awful that behaviour that wouldn't be tolerated in other workplaces seems to be allowed and permitted because of the nature of it. And that needs to change.
Yeah, this is making telly, isn't it? Yasmin, lots of broadcast minutes have been devoted to this and column inches have been devoted to this story so far. But let's just move on to the front of the Mirror, if we can, Yasmin, to kind of keep this story moving on. And this is, I guess, the big question that's going to be coming. Holly says that she's going to be staying, but there is reporting this morning that the person who launched this morning, in fact, says that the show itself might just get cancelled, and she thinks it's probably in the show's best interests.
Well, yes, I think it's all up in the air. And one of the things that strikes me, following up from what Gemma was saying, is that it's the contrast, isn't it, between, if true, these allegations of bullying and nastiness, which I've heard about since when Piers Morgan was there and all the way through, and yet they create this fake, cozy, we're family, we're one of you image. I find that quite terrifying, actually, that you can create this image of Holly and Philip, and before that, whoever it was, and yet all the time there's this rough edge and kind of quite cutthroat stuff going on. Holly Willoughby says she will stay, but in what capacity, one doesn't know. And obviously she's been quite badly affected. It's not been an easy run for her, you know, the girl, the young woman everybody loved and wanted to be friends with. It's been a tough year since the Queen's funeral. So we'll see what happens.
It would be a shame.
It's a soap opera in itself.
It certainly is, and we're all watching on with great interest. It would be a shame if Holly Willoughby, I guess, was caught up in the collateral of all of this and did lose that position. But she's, as you say, very talented, so I'm sure she'll be fine. All right, let's move on to another story that's making headlines today. And Gemma, this is a story that Sky News actually has reporting of over the weekend. And now the Sun have picked up. MPs putting driving fines on expenses. Head shaking all round.
Absolutely extraordinary. Absolutely extraordinary. You know, look, there's 4 people who've been named here that you can see there in the paper. But this comes off the back of the Suella Braverman brouhaha about, you know, whatever happened there with her speeding offence. But the point is that if anybody else tried to shove through a fine, their accountant would say, no, you cannot bill that as an expense. And if they did, it would be a sackable offence. It's not on. And it's this sort of shows this sense of entitlement. Now, I personally think MPs have a really, really stressful job. I do believe that having a subsidised canteen, I don't think I have any problem with that whatsoever. I think there should be perks to entice people into politics, which is horrible, you know, and they really have a terrible time of it. So I don't have a problem with perks. I have a problem with them claiming travel expenses if they're coming from a constituency miles away and they have to come to Westminster. That's completely fair. But if you get a punishment at 80 quid or whatever, which they can more than afford, don't shove that through, because then you just lose people's trust, and that's really, really galling. So just have a think about it, because of course, as soon as this comes out, it does an immense amount of damage.
Yeah, excellently put, Gemma. And Yasmin, you were nodding along to all of that. And you say you sort of shove through. People who do expenses know that you put it through and you cross your fingers sometimes. But someone has to sign off on those expenses, don't they? And I guess there is something in the ministerial code of the members' interest that says that these things are allowed. So maybe that needs to be looked at as well.
Well, I think that the whole system needs a complete overhaul, actually. The system covers up, allows for all these things to slip in, and this government is particularly expert at these sorts of expense claims, but we've had this before. I remember one Labour minister, can't remember the name, who claimed for her Netflix or something subscription, and someone told me, who knows all these things very well, a journalist, that he knows that one MP, one minister, junior minister, who claimed for a birthday card for his child. Oof. And it was passed. So I think there's a systemic failure to hold people to account, and I also think they should be paying their own travel expenses, because other people do. Most working people do not get their travel paid. So yeah. I think it's a tough job.
If they expense that,
they have got
birthday
very
card,
lax.
Yeah, if they expense that birthday card, I hope they actually went and bought it and didn't send someone out to buy it for their kid. And Gemma, you put your hand up. It's not school, but go on, jump in.
Well, I just wanted to say, there's a lot of talk sometimes from certain factions of the media talking about benefit scroungers, and sort of that's precisely what this is. It's scrounging, sorry.
Excellent point. I'm glad we came to you. All right, let's move on real quick to... this is In the Eye, Yasmin, and this is some reporting about staffing for childcare settings. Just tell us about this. We haven't got loads of time, but go through it for us, please.
Well, it's a really important story, because in 2019 to 20, 17,000 young people wanted to work in the childcare sector. That has gone down to around 2,000, partly because the government defunded all the major courses that they had and brought in this very inferior route into what is an essential kind of industry. If you want people to work, if you want mothers and fathers to work, provide good childcare. They say they will, but it looks like in the mechanics of it, they deliberately defunded the stuff that was going on.
Okay, sorry to end it there, but thank you for making that point, guys. More from you later throughout the morning. Plenty more to come from us next hour.